Hello there everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Unlimited video. In today's video I've got an aggro deck profile for you, and this is for a deck that I don't think is really getting as much spotlight as it deserves. I think it's really quite good, and that is, drum roll, Asajj Yellow. So I think Boba Yellow is very much dead and gone, but I think this is about as close as we are realistically going to get, and I'm a really big fan of the way this deck works now. It has some bad matchups. Chief among them is Cad. Playing this deck into Cad is absolutely suffering. Any of these kind of like mid-range decks that like any of these like red decks with Tarkin Town basically are just going to make your life slightly living hell, because they're able to just interact with your board too much, and that always sucks. I haven't tried it very much into Django, though. I think that could go either way. I think you go really fast, though I suspect their ability to tap down your board is probably going to win out. But anyway, I think this is a fun deck, and it's a really solid aggro deck, and I think it's worth trying out. So let's just talk through the list. I think this it does a scary amount of damage. Like you can kill on turn 3. So 2 drops. We have got 3 copies of Merc Gunship, 3 copies of Lux Bonteri, 3 copies of Separatist Commando, and 2 copies of Dr. Evazan. Why are we playing Dr. Evazan? I think it's okay, and I think like in a deck that's trying to kill as fast as this deck is trying to, I think it's fine. You are like realistically, by the time they're able to get a value out of it, like it's resource 5 and they should be almost dead. So like that's fine. And like you have basically I've rarely found myself in the situation where it's been like absolutely insane, where I've just been like, oh shit, like they've completely screwed me over here. Like you don't have to play it. And I do have a couple of crafty smugglers in the side for the blue matchups, basically where you just want rid of it immediately. You're never playing it in that situation. But yeah, otherwise this is 3 attack units and a unit that can become a 4/3, which is obviously really good. So yeah, just an aggressive start there. For 3 drops, we are playing 3 Toro, 3 Boba, and 3 7th Fleet Defender, and this is sort of a similar thing. So Toros, obviously, we're playing a lot of bounty hunters on the higher end. So Toro's untap becomes very reasonable. Boba is just a good 3/5 unit, also quite resilient to Tarkin Town, and 7th Fleet comes in shielded, very good. So part of the reason now, I think, depending on testing, I might take out Lux and I might make it 3 copies of Cantina Bouncer. Not Cantina Bouncer. Oh my god, I'll get there someday. Crafty Smuggler. This is a running thing for me. I can never get those cards' names right. But yeah, Crafty Smuggler may be better because it's shielded, and so it's sort of more resilient to the pings that are coming from decks like Django and decks like Cad. But depending on how much of the meta those end up representing, I think that ends up being better. But there's obviously a lot of decks that are rolling up and cheating resources, and so this ends up being really good. I appreciate Evazan's probably the first card you're looking to cut, and you could just do that. But I've been trying it out and it's been okay. I think experiment with the card until it ends up being really bad, basically. But anyway, a lot of yapping. Basically, that's why I like the shielded units. And part of the reason I really like Evazan is because even if they do pop it, they need to spend resources before they're getting value out of it, and unless they're spending them on a removal spell, they're probably playing a unit first, and so you always get a moment to interact and kind of make it awkward for them to actually gain value out of killing the Evazan. And he usually takes down quite a few units for them. But anyway, yeah, that's why I like the shielded units. I think they are quite resilient into those decks. On to 4 drops now. We got Forlom and we've got Chancellor Palpatine. So this is a card that I've been really enjoying because of how sticky it is. And it's just very annoying to remove. Now, the on attack, having the condition for a unit needing to leave play is quite annoying, but it does usually end up being pretty straightforward. It's not too bad. It happens a lot with this deck, especially if you play it and then the next turn you Cunning. Then it's live immediately and you can be doing a lot of damage that way. And obviously Forlom is just a very good card, very good 4-drop. We are, this deck is nowhere near as good as Boba Yellow, unfortunately, but I do think it is pretty decent. And then to round out your curve, we got 5 drops here, which are 3 Bosk and 3 Zuckuss, and these are both good cards. And obviously, if you get the Zuckuss Forlom combo, that's really strong. Might be too many 5-drops, but it's felt fine so far. So now let's actually talk about Asajj. So why are we playing this as our sort of aggro shell? So Asajj's front side means if you're using events, you are actually able to sort of gain an additional pump, and I think that's really, really valuable. So like if you have something on the board and your opponent like plays down a unit, and then you can go and you like waylay it or something, you can just turn that into like an additional point of damage. If you are like trying to close out the game, I think it's a really, really nice way to just gain additional pumps. Like it does come up. But really, you're playing her for a flip side, which is she's a 3/4, but she's going to be a 4/4 thanks to Petronaki. And on attack, she gains +1 and strike first, basically first strike, if you played an event. And so this is really, really strong because you make a 5 attack, but obviously, like if you pair that with any of your pumps, she's like 6, 7, 8 attack. So she's just one-shotting stuff left, right, and center, not taking any damage back, but also represents so much damage going onto base like immediately. Obviously, like if you flip her cunning and then like swing, that's what, like 9 damage from an Asajj, which is like crazy. Like you're ending games very, very fast in the situations where you're able to like make that happen. But yeah, like she's really, really quick, and she gives you a lot of utility in that sense. So like if we look at the support package that we kind of built around her, it shouldn't really be surprising. 3 shoot first, 2 breaking in, 2 no good to me dead, 3 surprise strike, 2 unnatural life, 3 cunning. And then I'm playing this for fun, which is 1 final showdown. It's come up once, and then 2 hot shot blaster. So like you see the sort of support here, right? So these are your pumps. These synergize very, very well with Asajj and letting her one shot loads of things, but also they're helping you end the game. And that's basically the goal. And they fill in your curve, right? Like if you're playing cheaper units, then you also have resources to spend on just pumping and smacking face. If you're playing more expensive units, and that's fine. No good to be dead just to kind of like potentially win those races. Sometimes there is something you just need to get tapped down. Unnatural life I've really been enjoying because like your opponent kind of doesn't expect it. And yes, you are playing 1 more, but like, yeah, I'll pay 6 to bring back a Zuckuss and smack my opponent for 6. It will be 7 with the leader because I'll have played on an event as well. So like that's a really nice synergy. And obviously cunning's crazy. 1 final showdown, like I have found myself in board states where I'm quite wide. I've got a Palpatine, I've managed to make a couple tokens, then I just go, okay, final showdown to GG. And the maths, thanks to Palpatine, can get quite interesting in that situation. And especially, it also lets you gain an additional point of damage out with Asajj, which it comes up. And then Blaster, my favorite Blaster target is Palpatine, because you make him a 4/6, which is really, really, really good. I don't know if you guys knew this, but 4/6 is very, very strong. So you suit him up, make him a 4/6, and then you just smack face, basically. And he's very, very good. And yeah, so that's the main deck. In terms of the sideboard, I'm playing 2 Waylay, 3 Lurking Tie, 3 Bodhi, and 2 Crafty. So Crafty is going for Eversand's in the matchups where Eversand's terrible. Waylays usually get swapped with No Good to Me Deads, but sometimes it'll be like a final showdown or like shaving other units that are less useful. Lurking Ties for those hard control matchups, or the space matchups nowadays, and Bodhi for the matchups where it's like control decks and you just want to rip stuff out of their hand. And yeah, I think this is a really solid aggro deck. I would recommend giving it a go. If you guys like this video, please do let me know in the comment section down below, and I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on this deck. Do you think it comes anywhere near close to what Boba Yellow was? I do think Boba Yellow was a very interesting check on the format as an aggro deck, because it had really interesting interactions with the other aggro decks in the meta that this probably isn't going to have. And I think like space decks are just so much better because Boba Yellow doesn't exist. I'm going to test out this deck a lot more into Django Red because I really want to see how well that goes. But I do think this deck has some legs, and I think it's a really, really fun one to try out. So yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Cheers.